Hello, welcome everybody to episode 5 of the Treasure Valley Business Podcast. I'm Tanner Flint, the owner of Flint Insurance, a health insurance brokerage here in Nampa, Idaho. And today we got Raymond Trujillo, High Command Roofing. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good.
Yep.
You and I know each other from BNI. That's who I think most of my interviews have been with.
Yep.
So far, people from BNI. So if you're not part of BNI or want to come check us out, 7 a.m. Thursday mornings, Homes of Idaho over in Caldwell.
Yep.
So tell us about yourself. How long you been here in the Treasure Valley? You live in Caldwell, right?
Yeah, I'm in Caldwell.
How long you been here? Because you're not from the area, right?
No, so I came down here in 2013.
Okay.
And I came down here. Well, I married into a family, and I met my wife in Elko, Nevada. I was born and raised in Elko, Nevada, and met her at a party, and one thing led to another, and then we ended up having a kid. And I was a sophomore going into junior year, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? I have a kid on the way. Should I finish school? I was in homeschooling at the time, and because I dropped out, and freshman year, they get the last season of it, I'd say.
Of college?
No, of high school.
Oh, high school, okay.
And so dropped out of there, and then went to online school, and then halfway through online school, I just stopped going to school because I had to start looking for a job. So did a job there in Elko, Nevada. I was working for Smith's for a while, and then just saved up, and then
the grocery store.
Yeah.
Okay.
And saved up for a while, and then my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she's like, well, you know what? We met each other, and was like, well, we should move up to Idaho, and moved up to Idaho, and she's like, my father-in-law and his son up there is doing roofing. You should look into it. Pretty good money. So looked into it, did a couple of roofs, worked for another contractor down here, and yeah, just been roofing ever since. Kind of stopped because I got injured, and also kind of started getting really messed over from other contractors. Just didn't pay right, would not pay out. It was just a lot of mess. So we kind of stopped, and then here we are now. So
Did you fall off a roof?
no, what happened was we had to sheet a whole entire section of a roof, and we had leaned the sheets of OSB up against the garage. So what we did, we had them for kind of like a catch system to where nothing would damage the siding or anything or the garage. So we had it up against the wall. And when we were done with tear off, we had to go down there and move them. And when we moved them, us being 18 stupid kids, we thought to move like 4 or 5 of them at once.
Yeah.
And I had one end, and I didn't pay attention, and we didn't do it at the same time. And one weight distributed the other side, and it pinned me up against the trash can.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, the trash hopper, and really messed up my knee. My knee was did like a 180.
Ow!
I didn't break anything. I twisted I pulled my meniscus, I think it's called, and just pulled that thing really bad. Just horrible. It swelled up within like 45 minutes. Yeah, it was really bad. But I was in a cast and crutches for about 7 months.
Oh shoot!
I couldn't walk at all. My knee was just messed up.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, it wasn't falling off the roof. It wasn't hitting my hand with with a nail or anything, a nail gun or nothing like that. But it was just off the ground, and happens. Everybody gets injured in roofing. People fall off the roof. People will walk up the valley and fall and trip and slide down, or some people fall straight through the roof because the decking just completely rotted out.
Yeah.
And that's never happened, but luckily.
How often do you see someone get hurt on the job?
More
than you like, probably.
I haven't seen anybody.
Oh really?
No. Nope. Since I've been in 2 years of business, all my guys are really safety. Safety is number one. Make sure everybody's good. If the pitch is higher than, if it's 2-story and it's a certain pitch, we always get harnesses out and stuff. And
Yeah.
cushions, we use cushions for safety. It's really good. A lot of the guys don't like to use harnesses because what happens is you got your airlines on the roof, you got multiple airlines, if you got multiple shinglers, and then you got your harnesses, just everywhere. So if you're not experienced where you're walking on a roof, especially on a steep roof, it's really easy to trip.
Yeah.
You can trip on those harnesses. And so harnesses, if you're not really trained with them very well and how to use them, it could be a really danger to the roof, when you're working on the roof.
Yeah.
And so cushions is really a lot safer because it's just a cushion from your old couch. We take it out and we put it on the roof because it's a certain material that sticks to the roof, to the asphalt, and it's a lot safer because you have that entire area you can sit on, and then you have another one you put right next to you, and then you just move it up and you jump on that one, you move it up, and then you continue
I've seen that before. You said where did you guys get those again?
just from old couches. Just tear out the couch and you just
Oh,
use
interesting.
those. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to get some. So you and I have talked about I've had a Christmas light company for 5 years, so selling hang custom Christmas lights.
Yeah.
So I'm on roofs, and some roofs are just super steep. Some of them I can just walk, no problem. Like, but that would be nice to get some.
Another thing is cougar paws.
Cougar paws are
nice. Those are, I didn't bring them, but the same concept, the foam, but it's on the shoe on the bottom, and the soles are replaceable. You can change them out.
Oh, interesting.
So you just buy the shoe and you just change the soles out.
Oh, interesting.
And they're like $30, so they last for a while. You can use them in install inspections. I use them on inspections a lot, of course, on steep roofs.
How often do you have to replace them? Or do they last a while?
I bought these ones used, new padding on it. I've been on quite a few roofs, and the padding is still good on them. I let my brother-in-law use them too a lot of the time. He has a shingle.
Yeah.
He used them the other day to shingle 1212. So he did
Dang.
pretty good. So yeah.
Do you ever? One thing I have for my Christmas light company is I have a ladder called the Goat. Do you have? So
I don't have a goat yet. I want one.
You got to get one. They're expensive ladders, man. That
yeah,
it's like $800.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
I bet. Probably cut that out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. The goat.
Yeah, the Goat. Yeah, it's like an $800 ladder, but it's super cool. So it reaches, I think, you can get up to 20 feet or something like that.
Yeah, you can. They're exchangeable, right? You can just keep adding them.
Yeah, you just keep adding them on, almost like tent poles. And then they got like little handles, and the handles you can also use them as steps. And they just got a big hook, so you just hook it over the peak of the roof.
Yeah, the ridge.
And then you can just crawl up and down it, and so nice. It's just a pain to pull it out every time.
Oh, what do you mean pull it out? Like setting it up and everything?
Yeah, just setting it up, taking it down takes time, but it's definitely saved me from falling on.
Yeah, you feel pretty safe on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is it when you hang on it, it's pretty sturdy? Is it like any like when you hang on it, is it like moving or?
Like
is it pretty sturdy?
It'll move side to side, like it's not clamped into anything. Right. It's just hooked over. But so if you're like swinging side to side, then yeah, it'll move. But if you're just kind of like walking up it or something like
in that certain area,
yeah, just going straight up and down, I felt safe. I weigh about 175, and my friend he weighed, I think at the time he was like 230 or something like that, and he was using it, so it can hold a good bit of weight.
I seen another one too, the ladder. They have another ladder one where you can just buy the hooks, and there's a lot of ladders that are you can take them apart and you can use them as two pieces. Well, those aluminum ones, they have like little clamps on the top of them, to where you can just put on the top of on the very first foot ladder footing,
Yeah.
and it clips over just the ridge, just like the roofing goat. But you also have the ladder to where you have two where you can actually stand on it
Oh,
instead of
interesting.
just having the little hooks where like the ladder goat where you can just have one foot on it.
Yeah.
You can actually sit on it like this and
Oh,
and sit.
interesting.
So if I had like a repair on like a really steep roof and it's kind of like middle out in the field, I can just sit on it and just kind of like extend my body out to the side and just repair
Oh,
that
interesting.
area. Or they have pitch hoppers. Pitch hoppers are cool.
What are pitch hoppers?
It's the same thing. It's kind of like a same material, foam, and it's a piece of plastic and it's just a step.
Yeah.
So it's like a step and it's completely level, but it's also you can 8, 9, 12. So.
Oh, interesting.
hmm So here's the roof, and then you're sitting on top, and it just
Oh,
sits.
well, that's
Pretty
nice.
cool.
And
I
I'll have to
yeah.
look into some of that stuff.
Mhm.
For doing Christmas lights. Try not to do a crazy steep roof, um, but I'll do it if I need
Yeah.
to.
Well, you rock climb, I noticed. So
Yeah, no, I do tons of rock climbing. It's been a couple weeks, dude. It's just been so hot here in the valley, so I haven't wanted to go rock
yeah.
climb because those rocks get toasty
Oh yeah.
when you're climbing them. So I haven't done it in a couple weeks. Last time I did it was last month up in McCall. But I'm trying to plan a trip down to the City of Rocks.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
It's south of Burley. You said you got a job over in Burley soon?
Hopefully, I might go up there and take a look.
Hey, maybe you'll have to go down to City of Rocks. It's like an hour south of
Oh,
Burley.
is it?
Um, but yeah, I loved it. Rock
I've
climb
heard a
over
lot of people
there.
have been talking about it. Beautiful there.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Um, yeah, do tons of that. So yeah, crawling on a roof isn't very scary for me. That's part of the reason why I enjoy the Christmas lights is
Yeah.
I can just crawl around on
Yeah.
people's houses and
Yeah, it's no problem. I'm hanging off 40-foot cliff right now.
exactly.
Doesn't bother me.
Oh yeah. So so when you're not working, what do you like to do?
Um, I like to not much really. I just like to get out, hang out with the family. We go to the lake pretty much, the green belt a lot.
Okay.
Find a few areas and just go for a nice, swim for a few hours, hang out.
You guys just go to Lake Lowell, or where do you guys usually
We
go?
go to the green belt, an area in the Reed Merle Park.
Okay.
So there's a entrance for the green belt there,
Mhm.
and there's a few areas down that green belt. That's a good spot where we just take a few hours, just hang out with the family.
Yeah. There you go.
Pretty fun.
You got how many kids again?
4.
4?
Yep. Well, 4 with one on the way, so
So
4. So that makes 4. Yep.
okay.
Yep. I have 4.
How old are they all?
So my youngest, she's gonna be 6, and my middle is boy. He's gonna be 7, and my oldest is 10.
Oh,
So
there you
yeah.
go.
Yep.
And then
So
when's the new baby born?
um, anytime within this week or next week.
Oh, dang.
Pretty soon. So she's 37 weeks right now.
Maybe it's a girl?
Yep. Yep. Her name's Seneca.
Oh, that's a nice name. Where'd you
Yes.
guys come up with that name?
My wife, she likes philosophy, so there's and I think he's an old ancient
Oh, yes, I
philosopher,
have heard of.
Seneca.
Yeah,
Yep. So, and it's a unisex name, so he's a boy or girl. So
that's fun.
yeah, and a pretty nice name. I like it. So
We just had a daughter. Um, be 2 weeks on Friday. We just had a newborn. Her name's Maple. So maybe Seneca and Maple will
nice.
become best friends
Yeah.
because they'll only be maybe a month apart in age.
Yeah, super close. Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll have to have them hang out sometime
Yeah,
when they get
definitely.
older. She doesn't even know who I really am yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, do you guys go? Do you guys go camping
Yeah,
or
we
do
like
anything
going
like
to
that?
camping. Just been so busy lately.
Is
No
this the
time for
busiest
that. Yeah.
season for you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, especially at 2 years in business, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door and get established, and so I'm not taking any time off for work, as you know, no vacations. everywhere I walk, I'm thinking about my business. So I'm like, it's really hard to. I'm getting to that point to where I'm trying to divide family time and business time,
Yeah.
and it's super hard to when trying to rely on my business for income and
Hmm.
and trying to make that work, and also at the same time trying to grow the business and then give my time to my family.
Yeah.
And it's just it's super hard. And nothing that I thought it was. Working at a 9 to 5. Working at a 9 to 5, you don't have all these other responsibilities as a business owner,
Hmm.
and you're not worried about anything like a business owner will worry about when you're working at 9 to 5, and you have that security, and it's like just a whole different ballpark, changing your routine up, your life schedule, being a business owner, and it's crazy, but you just work at it with day at a time, and you know you you figure out the best way to go about it, and the tip, the little tricks, you know, and you end up finding your routine after a while, whatever works best.
Do you have a way you've been able to separate, like a way that's worked best for you to separate work time from family time?
Um,
Like, are you just Monday through Friday, or do you work Saturday? Do you work Sunday, or what do you usually do?
so I have anybody can contact me, if they have roofing questions, that's open 24/7. But if you want to schedule, like an estimate, inspection,
Hmm.
in person, like consultation, I have Monday through Friday, or sorry, Monday through Saturday, and that's open. But also, always open 24/7, for any questions, anything like that. So, um, I divide my family time whenever if I have something, which is sometimes here and there I have something. Obviously I give it my attention, but it's
Hmm.
not always that much time. It's
Yeah.
it's always just meeting the homeowner, getting measurements, doing the inspection, figuring out what they need, what they want, seeing if we can accomplish that, and it goes from there. And you know, I can get probably 3, 4 estimates done in a day.
Yeah.
Um, it really doesn't take that long. I have a spreadsheet about all the materials. Um, so I just go through that spreadsheet when I get uh, the measurements and everything. I just go
Yeah.
through that spreadsheet, and I can spit out an estimate pretty quickly.
How long does it take you to do an estimate on a house?
Um, well, there's 2 ways I can do it. I don't really want to give all my secrets and stuff,
That's
but
fine.
there's one way I like to do it is through Roofer. I get a measurement report back within like it costs, but I can get it back in like I think it's like 3 hours is like the quickest, and then 24 hours. But that's one way I do it. I like it because it spits everything out. It's really the easiest way, laziest way. Really, you can sit it from your office and on the phone with the homeowner.
Yeah.
Getting all the information, do the estimate right then
Yeah.
there. Or sometimes a lot of the time they want to meet you in person and actually meet you. I actually
Prefer that?
prefer that. It's always best to meet the person and understand them better, and that way you can build that connection before you send out an estimate. That way they know who you are,
Hmm.
why his number is this much, and blah blah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do, and so it just really depends. If it depends, like if I meet a person and I feel like the lead is not that warm, because I kind of judge a person like.
Yeah.
So if like they're really not interested, I kind of put that in my second plate, because I can
Yeah.
kind of judge them. And if they're getting multiple estimates, then I'll definitely kind of like hold off a minute, but then I'll still get that done.
Yeah.
But if I can tell like the person is really energetic, it really wants to move forward quickly, then that's really time I can go in and close,
Yeah.
and just be like, hey, I can get you an estimate here. Here's the shingle I use. I have samples. I can explain my roof process, blah blah. And a lot of the times they just accept the estimate right then and there.
There you go.
They sign it and they're like, hey, you got a deal, handshake. Yeah, so it really works out. So that's kind of what I do. And then a lot of times when I do the on-site estimate, I use certain software that I can just actually do the measurement myself
Yeah.
and just spit it out. And then that takes about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just go through all the measurements that you need and for all the components of a roofing system.
Yeah. So, how did you get into roofing originally? It was just through your father-in-law, you said, right?
Yep.
So, why did you decide to stick with roofing then?
Um, because I've always seen myself in construction. I have the personality type. I can't remember what it's called. Um, NINST, something like that. With the personality, you have certain personalities. You can take a test,
Yeah.
and I've always been in kind of like the mechanics,
Like hands-on kind of stuff.
hands-on kind of thing, like how things work, and I always like construction. Construction really intrigued me. Um, More or less like framing and building stuff. I never really thought I'd get into roofing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you never know where you end up in life, and some people end up in healthcare. You just never know.
Yeah.
It's wherever, I want to say wherever God has a place for you in life.
Yeah.
Everybody's written out from the beginning. You know what He has in life for them. What his path and what He wants
Yeah.
for them is essentially the best thing. For us is His plan. So that's yeah. I never really thought I'd get into roofing, but that's how I did it through my family, and we just worked through other contractor, did a bunch of roofs, helped tore off, prepped, um, helped install a little bit, and just that's about it.
Yeah.
And just kind of grew from there. Um, Obviously, I had more kids, more bills, um, so roofing kind of wasn't cutting it through the winter, obviously. So I had to find another outlet. So I worked at a axle plant making axles for
Like,
trailers.
oh, okay.
Anything without engines, that's what I helped manufacture. Did that for 8 years. Um, and then on the weekends, I'd go help, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law here and there, do some roofs. And then just on the background, always learned about roofs. Because that's all I really knew is about axles and roofs.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So it's like, well, that's all I know. So I'm just kind of dive into it and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I like doing I like making axles there for a while, but just the 9 to 5 repetitiveness, not being able to really enjoy life, expand your dreams. Um, my one goal is always wanted to invent something, be a business owner. One of those two: invent something, be a business owner. Didn't know how, didn't know when. So
To become the next Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison, yeah. So I mean, I had a lot of cool ideas. It's like I'll have like a cool idea of something. Like, I wonder if they invented that. Look it up. Of course they invented it. So I'm like, I'm always on the path to something. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, where's it at? And now I'm thinking it could be in roofing sometime.
Hey,
You
well,
know, I can go into roofing and then invent something that would help roofers out or contractors, help in any type of business,
yeah.
whether you're a business owner or you're a subcontractor or sales or whatnot. Something in that type of roofing, I'm pretty sure there's room for improvement. There's room for inventions.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where I'm headed. Um, so I'm gonna continue on this path and do what I know I can do. So
Well, you guys all heard it. We may be talking to a future billionaire right here.
you never
You
know.
could be the first billionaire on our podcast.
You never know. It's anything's possible.
Oh, yeah.
You stick to it and you always come up with ideas and think outside the box. So,
Oh, yeah. So, what are some of your big goals with the company this year? Like, what do you want to achieve?
well, I don't think I would be able to achieve it this year or next year or the year after, but if I get consistent enough and big enough, I want to be able to give free roofs away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so um, just driving down Caldwell. Caldwell's a huge area where I see a lot of like the old part of Caldwell, where
Yeah.
there's just a lot of roofs and where obviously I'm assuming whoever's lived there in the past years, they just really can't afford getting a new roof on it. I just want to be like, hey, knock knock,
Yeah.
you were awarded a free roof by HCR, so
Yeah.
that's number one goal I want to do is give away a free roof every month, every 2 months, wherever,
Yeah.
to a family in need. Because if you have a bad roof and bad bad system up there, it's gonna create mold. It's gonna get into your roof or
Hmm.
your foundation, your structure, and it's gonna cause mold. And then mold is called sickness.
Yeah.
It impacts your immune system very heavily, and so if you have like other issues and you have a bad immune system, it causes even worse things.
Yeah.
And so it's just roofing is really important, and to an extent, a lot of homeowners don't think about it that way, and so that's where I want to come into the industry and have them just give them a lot of information and knowledge about hey, roofing is important,
Yeah.
and yeah, so roofing is important.
Oh, yeah. I So I don't know if I ever told you. I was in the roofing business for about 2 weeks,
Hmm.
maybe a month,
Yeah,
something
you
like
did.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up in Colorado, and I think I was like 16, 17, 18 at
Hmm.
the time, somewhere in there. And my dad, he owned a construction business, but in his office was also a roofing business.
Okay, that's cool.
And uh, they were looking for some guys. They went door to door
Hmm.
selling roofs and things
Yeah.
like that. And um, so they taught me a couple things. Like now, when I go look at when I'm like on a roof doing Christmas lights or just looking at people's houses, I notice like, oh, that's a 3-tab shingle, or
Yeah.
that's an architectural, or how many different types of shingles are there?
So you got your conventional, they call it economy shingles, your 3-tab, and then you have your architectural.
Those are those 3-tab are just like the cheapest ones, pretty much, right?
Yep, cheapest ones for shingles, and then you have your architectural, and then you have your presidential, and then they have a lot of different styles for presidential. So
Okay. And then do you do um, what are they called again? Like wooden shingles, cedar.
cedar.
Yeah. Do you ever do wooden shingles on a customer
Nope,
or
it's
no?
all synthetic now. I don't mess with the wooden shake.
If someone wanted to like convert to the newer style shingles, would you do that job?
Mhm.
Okay.
The synthetic, yeah, it's a lot of material. It's more like a recycled plastic. You have your Brava or your Da Vinci. Um, Da Vinci. I can't remember which one's more expensive, but they're fairly close in price. Um, 50 years, no maintenance. It's really really nice material. Expensive though as
Yeah.
well. It's probably 3, 4, 5 times much as a regular
Oh wow.
architectural.
Do you have a favorite shingle that you try to sell people on?
So I have two that I like the very most that I recommend. It's your duration right here. And this is just the basic architectural shingle that I
Are,
do a lot of.
are these the different colors it can come in? Is that what that
Yep,
is?
a lot of those colors I can get here that are available. The most popular color is the onyx black, estate gray, Williamsburg gray, brownwood, and driftwood.
I kind of like that green one though. Yeah. Have you ever done that green?
The
That
chatter green,
Yeah.
no.
Have you ever done that?
That one is only available in Oak Ridge shingle, and I have not done any of those.
So why do you like this one the best?
Well, I like Owens Corning the best is because their consistency and their brand is really backed by really great innovation and just testing above all. Owens Corning accidentally invented fiberglass. I think it was, I'm not sure when. Don't ask me about that. But they invented fiberglass accidentally.
Oh,
So, and it kind of lead them onto the journey to make shingles.
well, I
And
think I think I heard I was at a BNI present or meeting last week, and uh, the guy doing the presentation was a roofer. I think he was talking about Owens Corner shingles, and I think he said they used to even be made of cotton before that, or
yeah, something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. They also made supposedly when they went to the moon, they made the gear for that too. So they made the
Owens
science.
Corner did
Yeah,
or
the
Corning?
yeah one's Corning.
Oh
They
wow!
made the suit gear.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so they help manufacture that. So I mean, their technology is really above far superior.
Yeah.
Um, the sure nail strip. This is the coolest thing I like. This helps with nail blow through. So when our installers hit this nail up here, because this is where they're going to install the shingle, right?
Yeah.
So when they hit it, they're not going to have any blow through. So
What does
if
that mean?
so, when the nail's going to drive through the shingle, right? And so since it's asphalt and it's up there, and right now it's like 80, 70 degrees, the shingle's warm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like butter. So when they're going to hit at 125 psi to hit the shingle and penetrate the paper and the decking,
Yeah.
right, to drive it through to fasten the shingle. So this was going to resist against that.
Oh,
So it's kind of
interesting.
like a woven band. This is like a fabric. So that fabric, so if you shoot that fabric, your nail's not going to go through it, you know. Whereas to this one, you got your malarkey. So right here, you
Yeah.
know, you on the malarkey, it's just going to have one laminate. So one laminate means this is a laminate square.
Okay.
This is double laminate. This is a single laminate.
Okay.
So mostly up here is just going to be on shingles is going to be like a double laminate. Well, this is double laminate, and then you have your sure nail strip here. So, and then also you can't see on the back, but the really crucial part is the adhesive bond that they have here. It's just little dashes of like a cement strip,
Hmm.
well, or tar,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to seal right here. So another shingle is going to come down and it's going to seal right
So
here.
this strip just gets taped on pretty much to right here.
Yeah, so right on the back of it, it's like a tar, really sticky tar. So when the shingle heats up, it seals to this, and then that's what's going to seal your roof and become a roofing system.
Okay.
So, yep.
Man. Yeah, I didn't know.
And I'll tell you, I've done a lot of repairs with Owens Corning. Also, repairs work really good because when you do repairs, you have to take out the shingle next to it to
Mhm.
get to the one that you need to repair. And when you take out the shingle, you take out the nails. So when you take out the nail, you're compromising that shingle, right? But this has a woven band here that the shingle's not going to deteriorate and break off
Yeah.
because you're going to hit it with another nail. So just imagine
Hmm.
the shingle's really warm, right? And you're trying to do repair, and you take out that nail to get to that shingle that you need out. Well, that shingle is going to be really damaged.
Yeah.
And with this one, the sure nail, you're going to have that woven fabric, so you can hit another nail, and it's not going to really deteriorate because it's going to be still intact.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
it really, I mean, Owens Corning does really good with their innovation. And after the sure nail, they done that. A lot of other manufacturers copied them and started doing the woven band on the back side, you know,
Hmm.
and then where on the back you can't really see it, but on the back side they did the woven band, you know, like I think ICO did it. So they after they had a lot of success and a lot of contractors and customers liked it,
Yeah.
a lot of other manufacturers caught on to the idea and they started changing their shingles with band systems and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
okay. Man, yeah, I didn't had no idea all this stuff went into it. But what I do remember though, so when I was, I guess not necessarily remember, but when I was going door to door for that 2 weeks or whatever selling roofs,
mhm.
we always tried to pitch them on the idea of like insurance will pay for it, especially like if there's like a big hailstorm or something
Yeah.
like that. We usually target neighborhoods that had like a big hailstorm in Colorado.
Hmm.
Um, is it what are the pros and cons of it going through insurance or just like paying cash for
Um,
a roof?
it just really depends. There's a lot of contractors that will just push insurance right away. Number one, it's because it's a for sure paycheck. They know they're gonna get paid, and they know they're gonna get paid well, and they know that their client's gonna get a roof, right?
Yeah.
But there's little factors that you have to take in consideration, like, well, is there enough damage? Is this, does this roof have enough damage for a claim to be filed? Is it acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense? Is it logical? Um, it really depends. Like, I'll do it in certain circumstances. Like, if I have an elderly couple that has numerous houses, didn't have any claims within the 5 years, right? And they don't have the money up front, and they have extensive wind damage. That's understandable. Their roof is probably 13, 14 years. It hasn't lived its full life. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But now, like, if a younger couple that just got a house, windstorm came through, blew off 20 shingles, right? They're financially okay. I wouldn't really recommend it with them because
Going through insurance?
going through insurance, because the reason why, anything can happen when they're newly home buyers. A pipe can burst in their house. It's going to flood their entire house. Now, that's more understandable than getting up on the roof and replacing 23 shingles. Call me up, I'll replace 23 shingles, pay me cash,
Yeah.
write me a check. You don't have to do
Insurance claim.
insurance claim on that. Especially if the roof is 7, 8, 5 years around that time. But now if the roof is like 15, 18 years, then you have to take into consideration of different factors and stuff. So
Yeah.
um, it really depends. Like with me, I did my roof. I in 2018, I had some wind damage on it. When I first bought it, I waited a little bit after I bought it. Went up there, had enough wind damage, so they paid for the entire roof. Um, I lost my, I think it was some kind of discount or something. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I lost my discount. And then they said if I filed another claim within a certain amount of time, they'll drop me.
Oh, interesting.
They'll drop me, and it's going to also be more expensive to find another insurance company because of my history of,
Mm-hmm.
I had a claim of wind damage,
Yeah.
right? And then if I had something else happen, pipe burst or whatever happens to the house, have to claim it under insurance because sometimes insurance covers it. They'll drop me, and then I have to find another insurance carrier, and then it's going to be harder, and it's my premiums will raise.
Yeah.
So another thing is premiums. The more contractors are out there that's doing insurance claims instead of retail, you have, let's say you have 10 contractors that are just pushing complete insurance, right? And they all do roofs, right? They all have 15, 20 roofs on the
Mm-hmm.
board scheduled, ready to go in a certain area. That certain area is going to be affected by the policies. So the policies is going to raise because the insurance are just writing checks out left and right.
Yeah.
For full roofs, 15, 20 grand, multiple times, 20 times.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of cash just going out, right? They have to get that money back somehow. So what they do is they raise everybody's premiums in that certain zip code to get that premiums back
Mm-hmm.
that they paid out over the entire years,
Yeah.
right? So your premiums could raise from, I'm not sure how much homeowners insurance is, because all mine is paid in, mine's a bundle. So I pay my mortgage and everything's in there,
Yeah.
insurance and all that. So I don't even know how much insurance is these days, but it could raise $120, if from $100 to $190. $90 a month is substantial for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's that times however many policies are out there. There's a lot of homeowners out there
Mm-hmm.
that have policies. So it's like they have to get their money back somehow, the insurance agency. So,
Oh yeah.
and they're being more strict with insurance. And the reason why they're being more strict is because of all these claims, and it's just, it hurts other contractors and also it hurts
Yeah.
homeowners at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you have the opportunity where you can do a cash deal, I'd I'd recommend that. A lot of times, what happens is you paid in your house for so many years, you have all that equity in there.
Mhm.
People will take out that equity and do home improvements, their roof. They'll take out $23,000 for roof and get the roof done. You know, and that's the best thing to do is because cheaper interest rates. Um, if you if you follow the IRS guidelines, it's taxable, so it's a tax break on it, and also, um, what another thing is low interest rates, and then your payments are not jeopardized because you're paying back into it because it's your home.
Yeah.
So it's not an extra payment, you know, it's going back into your home. So I recommend retail, you know, get a loan somewhere, get a equity loan. We offer financing, and so that's pretty much I recommend versus insurances. It
Okay.
just really depends situation,
Yeah.
what's going on. But if I when I do a consultation, I don't really push for insurance at all. Like 90%, I don't. It's always mostly retail, and I usually talk to the client about, well, what their circumstances and what their situations
Yeah.
are before I go file the claim. You never know,
Yeah.
because I don't want to file a claim and be like, have them 6 months later get dropped, and then have that on my brain, be
Mhm.
like on my conscience. I'm not that kind of person. So
Yeah.
it's really crucial.
Totally makes sense.
Mm.
Well, that's interesting. So what separates you from all the other roofers? Because I know there's a roofer on every corner.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
roofer on every roof here in this town.
it's right now, and competition is really really heavy,
Yeah.
and I've been noticing that there's a lot of newer contractors that just been popping up for roofing,
Hmm.
general contracting, whatever. Um, what I find work the best is to differentiate myself. Since I've been on roofs, I know how to install roofs, tore them off. Um, my 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 purpose, my way of attack is education.
Yeah.
So I sit down with the homeowner and talk to them about roofing. I know it's kind of boring to them, but they're interested. They need a roof. It's going to be $20,000
Yeah.
for materials for this kind of stuff, just asphalt
Yeah.
materials, ice and water, starter, nails, caulking, drip edge, starter, hip and ridge shingles. So you're paying $20,000 for materials, whereas you can take $20,000 and buy a decent vehicle cash.
Yeah.
So my way is educating them and be like, hey, this is the shingle, this is the underlayment, this is the ice and water, this is your drip edge, this is your uh, all the components. I lay it out and I explain everything to them, and then any questions they have, I just go ahead and answer them, and I educate them about my process and how I handle it and what they should expect from installation to cleanup. And also, I give them a good history about Owens Corning
Mhm.
and Malarkey, the two shingles that I like to use, and I just educate them. And Owens Corning gives a lot of in-home education for sales, so they give you a lot of um, sample boards, a lot of cool brochures, a lot of online stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm able to put a lot of their videos on my web page. I have a shingle selector. I have a warranty, um, everything that talks about warranty and everything. And so I just fully break down everything to them and why they should go with me, and why Owens Corning is the best roofing. manufacturer system that you
Yeah.
can get. So,
Okay.
and um, just a lot of things that I do differently that from other contractors don't. I just put ice and water around all the pipe flashings, so a lot of the protrusions around the roof. I put ice and water down first. That way, it's sealed. So that's where a lot of leaks happen is protrusions. You got your soil stacks for the bathrooms. You got your dryer vents. You got your attic vents. Those areas in the valley, that's where 90 to 95% where leaks happen.
Oh,
So
interesting.
we always have to um, make sure that our quality in those areas are top notch
Yeah.
and that no water can get in there and find its way in. So,
So what's the biggest roof you've done?
biggest roof I've done was just this year. I think it was 45 or 47 squares. Pretty big.
You talking about, what do you mean by squares?
So, by squares as roofer terminology, squares goes by 100 square feet. So each square is 100 square foot. So
So 44,500 square foot
of
roof
a
is what you've
roof,
done?
yep.
Dang.
And the guys, there was the way we do it to tackle phenomenon workmanship is we have two teams. So we have a ground cleanup team that just is on the ground
Mm.
most of the time without. So they get on, of course, on the roof and help with tear off. But once tear off is done, they hop off the roof and they start doing ground cleanup. And they
Yeah.
stay on the ground and they make sure that ground's clean 100%. So
Mhm.
there's like four of them going throughout the entire perimeter, just
Yeah.
throughout, 7, 9 hours a day, back and forth, back and forth, back, just looking for nails, anything, felt paper, anything.
Yeah.
And then we have four guys on top of the roof doing all the drying in, all the waterproofing, and then the shingling, and then that's it. And that's how we do it. And they just synchronize with each other and they get the job done. So that job was done 2 days, 2.5 days,
Oh
13
wow.
hours the first day, and then, well, day and a half actually. 13 hours, hit it hard the first day, and then came back the second day, worked another like 5, 6 hours, and we're done.
Dang.
Then we came back like 2 weeks later and installed this beautiful skylight with the flashing kit and everything around it. So
There you go.
so we don't so we get our flashing kits
Mhm.
from solar concept that solar concepts in Meridian.
Okay.
So we all our flashing kits come from there. So we make sure flashing kits are beautiful and completely installed right. So
Yeah.
everything's sealed up.
Are there some roofs that are harder to do than others?
Yeah,
Or are they all pretty much the same?
older houses. So older houses, you have to think about the ventilation. I'm actually working on a roof right now. Been working on it for a month. Part of his house is like a cathedral,
That's
and
cool.
yeah, it's a pretty nice house. It's built in the '80s. Really nice woodwork in the inside. You got your I think it was 12 by 8 trusses going across,
Hmm.
huge trusses, and they're all nice and what do you call it? Where it's wood staining. They put the
Yeah.
wood staining on it, and then you have the TNG tongue and groove on top,
Yeah.
which is nice. And then so that roof, when you take a look at it, you just can't just go in there and because it has cedar shake on it right now,
Yeah.
and part of the roof has an attic space, and then part of it doesn't. So when you take a look at that roof, you're not just going to go and take off a roof and just put on any
Mm.
kind of roof. There's variables that you have to take in consideration. So 9 times out of the 10, that area where the cathedral part is, that roof is going to have to need resheeted because the OSB is going to probably be splintering. It's going to start to deteriorate, and it's
Hmm.
probably more likely needs replaced. And then also the insulation you have to take in consideration. When you open up that roof cavity, you have your rafter bays. So
Yeah.
you have rafter bays going this way, and then you have ones going this way for structural
Yeah.
integrity. So when you pull out the sheathing and you take a look, you have your insulation. It's probably batted insulation in there. So what we're gonna do to vent that entire area, that's like 6,054 square feet. Because when we put a asphalt roofing on there, it's gonna be hot. super hot. Whereas a cedar shake, you can go up there and put your hand on it in 100-degree weather. You can leave your hand on it. It's not going to burn you. But if you go out and put your hand on this, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be you
Toasty.
can't leave your hand there.
Yeah.
You're going to burn it. So he wants a shingle system, and you have to take in consideration ventilation. So a house, a minimum of like 2 people can create 5 gallons of water vapor a day. That's just from using cooking, doing laundry, talking, breathing, what have you, your daily activities. It creates water vapor. That rises. That goes to your
Yeah.
attic space, right? So what happens when you have heat hitting the roof on a hot roof, right? You're going to create condensation because there's no air for that ventilation
Yeah.
to get that condensation out for the attic to breathe, right? So what happens when it's gonna create a cathedral drip, right? This is if not you're gonna put any insulation down. So if you were just to not worry about insulation and ventilation and you've put an asphalt roof down, you're gonna have cathedral drip. So where it's gonna condensate and you're gonna see it condensate from the inside of your house
Yeah.
because the condensation. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in there and do uh, sorry, closed cell foam to where we're going to cancel out that condensation factor. So when we do that, there's not going to be any condensation factor. So we cancel it out completely. So we don't have to ventilate it at all. Then what we do is we redeck it, and then we put our clips in, our C clips for inspection or contraction inspect. I can't even say that. Contraction and expansion,
Yeah.
or C clips. That's crucial. Our paper, and then we shingle it. So, and so that roof was been working on it for about a month, is because there's a lot of factors you have to take in consideration. And luckily enough, the homeowner really wants everything in detail. He
Yeah.
wants, well, what if you tear off the roof and you have to do this? I want the price for that. And if you
Yeah.
tear off the roof, I need a price for the closed cell foam insulation.
Yeah.
I need a price for that because he doesn't want any surprises or anything. And he said he got like 7 quotes from other reputable contractors in the area, and he dwindled it down to 3 people, 3 contractors, me and 2 others, and that's a huge accomplishment because he didn't just pick any contractors. He picked other contractors that's been here 5, 10 years, 15 years, that's been doing hundreds of roofs.
Yeah.
And where I'm a contractor that's been here for two years and done about 17, 18 roofs and about 30 repairs. So you know what I mean? And the reason why he chose me is because my knowledge and my knowledge about the intake and outtake vents and just my knowledge about roofing, and I really impressed him, and so I'm just still waiting back on his word from that. So um, every roofing project is an opportunity to dissect it and to make your own of it.
Yeah.
So like how I did it with this one, I looked at it like, okay, well, he wants a certain type of roof. We went with, first it was presidential, too expensive for him,
Yeah.
um, way too expensive because we had to go in and change up the ventilation. So he wanted ridge vent. So with ridge vent, we have to make sure that there's intake and outtake
Yeah.
with any type of roof system. Even if it's just your turtle vents on top, you need adequate intake and outtake.
Yeah.
So where the air enters the attic and exits.
Yeah.
And so he wanted presidential, and he didn't have any intake vents at all. He doesn't. So under eaves, you can have intake under eaves where there's like, I don't know if you have ever seen them, where it looks like little screens on the soffits.
Yes.
That's where air enters, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any of that. So I let him know, like, well, if you want to do a roof, we're gonna have to upgrade your ventilation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you want a presidential. So the 2 ways we can do intakes is doing rooftop but we can't do rooftop vents with presidential. It's not pliable
Yeah.
because it's too thick and it's not a pliable shingle, whereas to the architectural, it's more pliable
Mm-hmm.
and it's permitted for rooftop. That's a lot easier installation because what we do is we take it up wherever the insulation stops and we cut. It's kind of like the ridge vent, so we cut a slot in the decking and then we put that down, and that creates that flow of intake and an outtake.
Yeah.
Or another way we can do it is going from the soffit and doing the intake vents from that way. But that requires more work because you have to go up from underneath and then you have to go back in the attic and make sure everything is not covered. So, and it just depends on the way the house is structured. If the eaves is overhanging and you have like a freeze block,
Yeah.
a lot of them have freeze blocks to where you have to go in there and you have to drill that freeze block out to where that air can enter, or you have to put baffles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a lot more labor, a lot more cost. So the best solution was just do an architectural with ridge vent and intake vents on the roof, and then do the poly seal um, closed cell foam.
Okay.
So that way, that roof on that side, it breaks the moisture barrier, and on this side of the roof has adequate um, intake and outtake ventilation.
Man, dude, I'm learning so much stuff about roofs. I had no idea
Yeah,
what even went into it.
it's a lot. It's a lot of science. It's a lot. So I break it down too. I break the science down into it. I make sure that the roofs are adequately ventilated. Sometimes I have to go up there and add vents, um, and then a lot of the times I tear off vents that are just dryer vents.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to replace that vent, take it out, and then put the right vent there. That's a dryer vent,
Yeah.
and I see that a lot. Just a lot of misplaced venting. So if you don't have the right ventilation, um, what do they say, balance, the intake and outtake,
Yeah.
you're gonna have problems in your roof. Um, a lot of times in the winter with the ridge vent, when you get snow drifts, so they have a gable vent on the very end,
Yeah.
and you have a ridge vent. Well, that gable vent will actually act as an intake because it's lower, and the ridge vent is higher, so air will rise. So wherever air can get into a point to where it's lower and it'll exit to the riser, it'll act as an intake vent.
Oh, interesting.
So you can't have more than two ventilation systems on a roof. So if you have gable vents and you have a ridge vent and you have soffit vent, you have to close that gable vent off, because what happens is you get a tundra effect. So snow will get sucked in the attic, right, and just go in there and not exit,
Yeah.
and then the snow will melt.
Mm-hmm.
But here, luckily in this area, I'm not sure if anybody's experienced that. So a lot of contractors, what they should do is when they install the ridge vent, they should close off the gable vents and make sure they have the adequate intake vent. That way, you're not creating a tundra effect, because it'll whack out that ventilation system.
Yeah.
It'll confuse it, and it'll like, well, where is it going?
Yeah.
So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. Well, I don't want to take you forever or take your time forever. We are about out of time, but thanks for coming in and
yeah.
chatting with us. What's the best way someone could get a hold of you if they want to talk to you about getting a new roof? Or
So the best way you can get a hold of me is my Facebook, or just do a quick Google search, High Command Roofing, Facebook, and then reach out through my website. It's linked through my Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So take a look at
is your
there.
handle just High Command Roofing?
Yep, High Command Roofing LLC. So
Okay.
take a look, and
And we could reach out through there,
yep,
through Instagram, Facebook, or your website.
website, or I can give you my number, my business number, and reach out, call, text, email, whatever.
Perfect. Well, thanks a ton again. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Raymond as much as I have. So we'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one.
And I hope you guys learned quite a bit about roofing. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I love answering them. So have a good one.
Thank you. Take care.